And then I just started thinking about, like, what if we, as humans, are the creators and also the creation? Like, what if we created ourselves? And I don't mean in the sense of, like, we created all of life and we created all of Source. Source already always was and is and will be, and we are part of Source that has broken off. But what if we as individuals, as physical humans on Earth, when we incarnated here, we, like I said, like in the video game, we picked our avatar and our experiences, our skills, our talents, our gifts, our mission. What if we already picked all of that out and then we incarnated as a soul into a physical body, like as a baby in the fetus? So that would make us not only creators, because we're here on Earth and we create and we co-create our reality with others, and we can manifest our own life. We can attract things with the law of attraction. So we are creators. But what if we also are the creation? Like, we created ourselves. I know this is gonna probably sound so crazy and
so find a way to.
Hello, beautiful beings of light. My name is Monica. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I am not entirely sure what to title this video today, so I'm going to title it the first thing that comes to mind, and then I will put that in the title in the description. So today's video is going to be called, Is Life a Simulation? And Did We Create Our Human Avatars? Alright, so I have been very apprehensive about making this video. I actually didn't think I was going to, because it will sound so out there, I think, for a lot of people. The way that I think about life and spirituality and everything is difficult to understand for some people. I even run across most of my epiphanies or my downloads to my husband first before I make a video, and usually all of them he really can kind of grasp. He's very, very smart. He works in computers and programming and stuff like that, but this one kind of threw him for a loop. So I wasn't sure if I was going to make the video, but I felt inspired today to talk about it anyways, in case it resonates with anyone else. So as always, I say, take what information resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm not trying to tell people what to think or trying to get them to think exactly like I do. I just want to encourage people to start thinking for themselves, thinking out of the box, and asking a lot of questions, and don't just take everything at face value, including anything that I say. All right, so I first started thinking about this concept of life being a simulation a little while ago, maybe like a month ago, more recently, when I read a book, my first and only book that I've read by Dolores Cannon so far, I think it was called The 3 Waves of Volunteers Here on Earth. And if you don't know who Dolores Cannon is or was, she has passed away, but she did a lot of past life regression hypnosis. She came up with a technique to go back into past lives with individuals and to talk to their subconscious and to spirit, and to get answers to questions that a lot of people had. It could be any question, whether it was what was their mission or purpose here on Earth, which was the most popular one. A lot of people wanted questions to why they had certain diseases and certain ailments, or just any question that they could think of. She was able to put them in a hypnosis and also go back to past lives that would most be helpful for them in that present life. And yes, I do believe in reincarnation. Obviously, I do believe that we have many, many lives, and that we are all eternal, and that we're part of Source, and we're all that is, ever was, and ever will be. Like they say, energy cannot be created or destroyed. And we are energy, and everything around us is made up of energy. So that is my take on it, in case you're new here and you haven't seen my previous videos. So once I read this book, there was one particular client that she had that she did a hypnosis for, and he was brought back to a certain life in the past, and he saw, actually I think it was he saw right before he came into his current human incarnation, and he was a galactic being somewhere in space, like in a different part of the universe. He wasn't human before that. And she was asking all of these questions like, well, what did your body look like? Or do you have a body? And describe it. And what are you doing? And he said something along the lines that right before incarnating on Earth, he was in kind of like a holding space somewhere, like in a, you could say like a building or planet, where he was going over the details of his soul contract and the things that he wanted to learn before he incarnated as human on Earth. And they were just going over the finer details of like the lessons he wanted to learn and the experiences he wanted to have. And yeah, it was really interesting. He said it was kind of like a play. It's like he was getting ready to he was getting into character for this new role as this new incarnation. And I believe that we pick pretty much everything. Like we pick the exact day and the exact time that we're going to incarnate here. Like we pick our birth date and we pick our birth time and we pick our astrological signs. Like for me, I was born on September 12th and I was born at 1:11 p.m. And that number was never really significant to me until I had my spiritual awakening and I started seeing synchronized numbers. And to this day, I see them all the time. And yeah, so like 1:11 has more of a significant meaning to me. It really does confirm to me that I am a light worker. That's not just some random time that I was born at. I mean, that is a very synchronized angel number. So I believe I picked that, and I picked my what is it called? Your moon, sun, and rising signs in astrology. Like I am a Virgo, and I am a Cancer, and I think a Sagittarius. And I believe that we choose these signs so that we can experience the attributes that come with those signs. And I believe too, after reading that particular chapter about that man's story and how he said it was kind of like a play, and I can see the characters behind the wings, or behind the curtains, who are going to make their appearance in my life, and I'm going to make an appearance in their life, and we're all just like characters in this play. Kind of like, I don't know if it was Shakespeare or someone said that life is a stage and we're all actors in it. And I definitely feel that we're not just this one physical body and this one personality. Like I'm not just Monica, I'm not just a woman, I'm not just Black, like I'm not just the person who makes YouTube videos. I think that I've had lots and lots and lots of lifetimes in different parts of the universe, and I've had a lot of experiences, and I think that we all come from source, originate, and we are all really interconnected, and we can feel empathy, and we can be telepathic and psychic, and we can feel other people's feelings. Like that's how connected we are. Or we can even kind of catch on to their thoughts or thoughts about us. So I think we're just more vast than this one body and this one lifetime. This is a very small part of our spirit, but we're all of spirit and source all together, but we're just experiencing one tiny fraction of it right now in this incarnation. And so I think that Earth is like a school, and I think it is here to teach us a lot of lessons for our soul expansion so that we can expand our consciousness, and that the main reason of life here on Earth is to forget who we are so that we can remember who we are. And I talked about this in the Meaning of Life video that I will link up above in case you haven't seen that one. So, in other words, I kind of think that, or I really feel that the earth is a matrix or a simulation of sorts. And the way that I think about it is in terms of like a video game. I imagine that before we come here on Earth, kind of like I was talking about before with the Dolores Cannon past life regression experience with that one person, is that we decide, like I said, our birth date and time, our astrological signs. I believe we decide exactly where we want to be born, like where in the world, what country, what state, what city. We decide who we want as our parents and our families. And I've actually had some confirmation of this in a past life reading I've had for myself, that there were, I forgot what the term they called them, but they saw that these spirits, they called them like baby spirits, that were around me at the time of my reading. And I was like, well, what is that? And they said that those were souls who chose to have me as a mom if I decided to have kids. Not that I have to have kids. We all have free will. I definitely don't have to, and I don't plan on it. But if I chose to, then one of those spirits would incarnate here through me as my child. And I was like, whoa, that's that's so like interesting. I've never heard of anything like that. So yeah, I believe we choose our parents, like I said, our family. We choose what we're going to look like our race. We choose our hair color. And it's pretty much exactly the way you would think of a video game. I personally have not played a lot of video games. I don't really get them. Like, I just don't resonate with video games. I get really frustrated with them, and I don't understand all the controls or anything. So I've played very, very few video games. But I do remember games when you pick an avatar, you scroll through, maybe it's different now, but you would scroll through and you would pick, like, if you wanted to be a male or female, and then you pick, I don't know, sometimes they give you more details, like you can pick your hair color, you can pick your clothes, you could pick your skills, and all of that stuff. Like, you create your avatar, and then you experience the game through the eyes of that avatar. And you're in control of them, even though you're not physically there in that virtual world. So I just imagine that, I'm just going to try to find the best way to describe it. Let's say many of you have probably heard the term higher self, meaning, I don't even know what you would, how you would define that, but when I think about it, I think of the higher self kind of being just the divine spirit source, and letting that energy flow through you and letting it kind of guide your life, like intuition, like getting a gut feeling or getting an intuitive feeling to do something or to go somewhere, or to be with something or be with someone. I think of that as kind of like the higher self, and I feel like that is channeled through our hearts and not our heads so much. So I believe it's like source, which I believe is everything and nothing at the same time, just all of spirit. That is the higher self. So that is what is guiding us, or tries to guide us our entire lives, but we don't always listen because we get so stuck in the ego mind and what we think we have to do based on programming. And that is another thing with video games. It's a program. That's what a simulation is. It's a program of, they say, like zeros and ones, according to, I think, the Matrix and other computer scientists and stuff. And I'm still exploring this, but from what I've learned so far in my research, I feel like our coding is the astrology, meaning the planets, and how they move and rotate, and the planets are kind of like teachers for us or students, and we kind of learn we're kind of like in their classes as it's like right now it's Aquarius season, or when it becomes the moons in Pisces or whatever like that. And again, I don't know much about astrology. This is just a little bit that I've learned, and it kind of is starting to click. I think also our coding has to do with like what is it called? Sacred geometry. I watched a documentary about that. I'm not going to try to like explain that, but I think that is very, very interesting. In fact, I'll try to remember to link it down below in the description if you want to check out that documentary about sacred geometry and how it creates all the patterns in life, like through flowers and through fruits and even through our DNA and how our bodies are made up of. So anyways, I feel like we also are kind of living in a simulation within a simulation. And I think it was Elon Musk, maybe, who said that we were living in a simulation, and maybe other scientists who said through quantum physics or something that they're starting to prove that we are most likely living in a simulation. I haven't looked into that. I haven't watched the videos or did any research on that. That's just something I've heard in the past, and I kind of thought like, oh, that's interesting, but it didn't really resonate at the time. But now on my own personal journey, it's really starting to resonate. And what I mean by a simulation within a simulation is anything that is like virtual or digital. So like social media is kind of like a virtual reality or its own simulation. And it's, again, a simulation meaning a program that is structured, that was created. Same with like TV, news, movies, being on the computer, even YouTube, you could say, is kind of a simulation. And especially now with the metaverse, with Facebook, I don't particularly use Facebook anymore. I haven't for a long time, and I don't know much about the metaverse, but the way that it's described, it feels like a simulation within a simulation, meaning that like if the Earth already is a simulation and then we take it a step further and go into a virtual video game, especially what is it called? Is it 3D? I guess I don't know if it's just called virtual reality, where you put on like the glasses and then you're like really in a like a live kind of 3D virtual reality. I have promised myself I will never try that because I don't want to be too removed from reality. Like I know how addicting just technology and devices can be, like social media and movies and video games for some people. I don't want to take it a step further by just completely being another reality, virtual reality more, or another simulation more than I'm already in this simulation, if that makes sense. But yeah, VR, that is what it's called. So it's just interesting to me, like with video games, that definitely is a virtual reality and another simulation within a simulation. And to me, it's kind of funny because I think of it like I've seen a clip of somebody who was playing a game on Twitch, I think it's called. And I'm not trying to like down anybody who plays video games. I think that's totally fine. Like whatever, do you? But I was just watching her play like the Sims game, and it was she was showing herself or her character taking a nap or like making a snack or something. And to me it was just kind of funny because I'm like, I have to do those things. I mean, we do those things in real life, and I already find that kind of like a chore, so I can't, and I feel like really busy a lot of times, so I just personally can't imagine playing a game where I have an avatar that's doing the same things in real life that I could be or will be doing in real life already. So it really, I just kind of saw it from that perspective of the simulation within the simulation. I was just like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And then when I had this epiphany or whatever, or download about us living in a simulation and being an avatar in a way that we created our own avatars, I kind of got I got a synchronistic confirmation because my husband and I are watching the series The Office from beginning to end. I haven't watched all the episodes or seasons yet, and we usually stick to one series and we will watch one or two episodes throughout the week. And as I told my husband about what I'm talking about right now in this video, we right afterwards we started an episode of The Office, and the very beginning of the episode, the character Dwight was playing this video game called Second Life. And he explained that the reason why he chose to do this video game, start playing it, was because like a year ago or something, he felt like his life was so perfect that he wanted to create a second life. And so that everything in this Second Life virtual reality game was exactly the same as his real life, except for he could fly. And then unfortunately, he got really depressed because his ex-girlfriend, Angela, in the show, they were secretly dating. Nobody in the office really knew. And then they broke up, and she started dating another character named Andy, and he was telling Dwight all the intimate details of their relationship, and Dwight was just like super depressed. And so he created a second life, so that he could be further removed from his first life. Which I just was like, whoa, there's no way that is a coincidence, that I'm talking about us living in a virtual simulation and simulations within a simulation. And then we just happened to watch this episode of The Office, which I've never seen before, where Dwight's talking about living in another simulation. And then I just started thinking about, like, what if we, as humans, are the creators and also the creation? Like, what if we created ourselves? And I don't mean in the sense of like we created all of life and we created all of source. Source already always was and is and will be, and we are part of source that has broken off. But what if we as individuals, as physical humans on Earth, when we incarnated here, we, like I said, like in the video game, we picked our avatar and our experiences, our skills, our talents, our gifts, our mission. What if we already picked all of that out, and then we incarnated as a soul into a physical body, like as a baby in the fetus? So that would make us not only creators, because we're here on Earth and we create and we co-create our reality with others, and we can manifest our own life. We can attract things with the law of attraction. So we are creators. But what if we also are the creation? Like, we created ourselves. I know this is going to probably sound so crazy and so out there, and I'm trying my best to explain this because it makes so much sense in my head, but I feel like when I say it, it doesn't quite make sense. So hopefully this will make some sense to whoever this message resonates with. So yeah, I'm like, I feel like there was something earlier I was going to say. The thing is, though, is that we are physical and spiritual beings. And it can be difficult to find that balance. Especially when we get too caught up in the physical, which I definitely have for a long time. And I still have to ground myself and become present to really feel like I'm ascending spiritually, so I can see more than the 3D matrix. And when we start to have a spiritual awakening, especially from my own personal experience, we start to see glitches in the matrix, or glitches in the simulation, such as seeing repeating numbers over and over and over again, saying something and then, or like talking about something and then hearing someone else talk about it that same day or right after. I've been having a lot of moments where I will literally be thinking a word and I will literally hear someone say that exact word as I'm thinking it. Or I'll be reading and I'll happen to look at a word that's the exact word that I'm thinking. And once you start to open up that there's more to life beyond the physical, beyond your 5 senses, life becomes so much more magical. It becomes more permeable. You feel less lost. You feel like you have a clear direction to go and that you're on the right path. So I don't want to say that life is pointless, or this is just a game, so nothing really matters. I'm not trying to say anything like that. I think that although I believe this is a simulation, I believe it's also real. It's definitely real to us. Real is subjective. It's like, what is real? You know? I feel that the dream world, the astral world, is also real and a dream. And this world, this realm, physical, is also a dream of sorts. And I always think of what Aaron Doughty would always say. He would say something like, the more you realize that this life is a form of dream, the more dreamlike your life will become. And I have definitely noticed my life many times will feel like a dream. And my dreams feel more like real life sometimes than the physical waking reality. I feel that there are many spiritual tools and people that can help guide us on our path and through our ascension. But I think ultimately we have all the answers. We just have to make sure that we're paying attention, that we're grounded, that we're present, that we're open to receiving any guidance or information in whatever form it comes in, to not be attached to a specific form. For me, I just get these very powerful, or for me, I get these very strong thought forms. Sometimes in the form of like what feels like a quote, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know I knew that. And I realize that that is me being a channeler of the divine. And I'm able to channel advice for myself that helps me on my path. And then I like to share that with you guys here on the channel for whoever it may help. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. I don't have anything else that's coming to mind, so I'm going to finish the video and leave it there. If this makes any sort of sense to you, and if you like the video, if it resonates, please give me a thumbs up to let me know, or leave a comment. I always love hearing from you guys. And until next time, as always, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, everyone. Much love and namaste.